Most leaders think that boundaries are barriers, walls, limits, something that keeps people out. But the truth is the opposite. Boundaries are not barriers. They are instructions for respect, their clarity, their stability, and their protection. Without boundaries, leadership becomes heavy. You become the person everyone runs to, the person who fixes everything, the person who's always available, the person who answers every message, every call, every question, even the ones no one should be asking you in the first place. And when that happens, you don't just lose time, you lose presence, you lose energy, you lose the joy you once felt for the work, and you lose yourself. If you feel overwhelmed by constant demands, stretched thin by the needs of your team, or guilty anytime you think about saying no, then this episode's for you, because boundaries do not restrict your leadership, they strengthen it. Welcome to the Lead Well channel, where we explore the inner world of leadership, well-being, and what it actually means to build a business that doesn't break you. Hi, my name's Trevor. I have run a multi-award winning restaurant and cocktail bar, and I consult hospitality leaders who want to lead with strength without losing themselves in the process. But I had to learn this the hard way. When I first opened Doco Rocco, I thought leadership meant being available all the time. I thought saying yes made me reliable. I thought stepping in made me strong, and saying no felt rude, unhelpful, or worse, weak. I let staff knock on my door for every tiny question. I let suppliers call me whenever they wanted. I answered every message no matter what time. I put out every fire personally, and I carried every emotional load. The resentment that built up was quiet and slow, but it was always there. The tiredness became part of my identity, and the loss of joy became my normal. My time wasn't my own, my energy wasn't my own, and eventually my life did not feel like my own either. This is the impact of weak boundaries. They don't fail all at once. They fade slowly until you wake up one day and you realize that you've got nothing left to give. And I see it in others every day. I want to tell you about someone I coached recently. His name's Jack. Jack is a leader in a niche retail and music business. He's respected nationally and internationally in his industry. People rely on him, people admire him, people go to him for advice, support, opinions, and help with the most random of things. He's passionate about what he does, he cares deeply about his team, he loves the instruments he works with, and he genuinely wants to help people. But that passion became a problem when he started to feel responsible for everyone, everywhere, all of the time. He answered calls and messages across different time zones, he responded to people from around the world at all hours, he woke up at extreme times just to try and get ahead, sometimes waking up at 4 in the morning to prepare for a 6:30 start when he didn't have to be there until 9. He would collapse on the sofa at 7 in the evening, exhausted, disconnected and numb. His partner hardly got time with him. His children saw him tired and distracted. He worked every moment that he was awake, and even when he was not working, he was mentally still working. His staff relied on him for everything. His business partners let him carry the weight while benefiting from his relentless passion, and he believed he needed to clone himself in order to keep up with the demands. He cares so much that he couldn't find the line between himself and the work. No matter how hard he tried, he always felt behind. Jack didn't need more hours, he needed boundaries, and that is where this episode begins. In this episode, I want to show you how boundaries are not restrictions, they're a form of oxygen. They protect your mind, your leadership, your identity, and your well-being. And by the end of this video, you'll understand the difference between control and clarity, why saying no makes you a better leader, how to set boundaries without guilt, how boundaries protect your energy and prevent burnout, and how boundaries ultimately make you a more effective, present, and respected leader. If you struggle to say no or feel like everyone pulls you in 10 different directions, take my free business and wellness quiz. It highlights exactly where your energy is leaking, and it shows the areas where stronger boundaries could probably change everything. You carry a lot, and you deserve the tools and the support to carry it well. Boundaries are not barriers, they are instructions for respect. One of the biggest misconceptions in leadership is the belief that boundaries push people away a bit. In reality, boundaries bring people closer because they create clarity. Boundaries tell people how to interact with you, how to respect your time, how to communicate with you, what you can do, what you can't do, and what your role actually is. They tell your team what to bring to you and what not to bring to you. They tell your partners what is your responsibility and what isn't. And they tell your customers what to expect. They tell the world where you end and where your job begins. When leaders don't set these boundaries, the world fills the silence with assumption. Staff believe everything is your job, customers believe you are always available, Partners assume that you'll pick up whatever they drop and you become the default person for everything. Jack became the default person for everything in his industry, not because others meant to take advantage, but because he never once communicated where the limit was. People respected his knowledge, but they never considered his time. Not because they were inconsiderate, but because he never made his time visible. Once you understand this, boundaries stop feeling like walls and they start feeling like clarity. The difference between control and clarity. A lot of leaders confuse boundaries with control. They think if I set boundaries, I'm restricting others. If I say no, I'm being unhelpful. If I pull back, things will start to fall apart. But boundaries are not controlling others. Boundaries are controlling yourself. Control says, I must do everything for everyone. Clarity says, this is what I do, this is what I don't do, this is when I'm available, this is when I'm not, this is what I can carry, and this is what I can't carry. Control restricts others. Boundaries empower others by giving them space and responsibility. Jack resisted boundaries because he confused them with control. He thought stepping back made him less supportive. He thought saying no meant letting people down, and he thought having limits made him selfish. But what he discovered is that boundaries don't reduce how much you care, they reduce how much you crumble. When he finally set up the boundaries, his staff stepped up, his remote team workers excelled, his partnerships improved, and his leadership became stronger and much more respected. Boundaries didn't limit him, boundaries freed him. Why saying no makes you a better leader. Saying no is one of the hardest things for a caring leader to do, but it's also one of the most powerful. Saying no protects the quality of your yes. It preserves your energy, it prevents resentment, it builds trust in your decisions, and it sets a clear standard for others. When leaders say yes to everything, they dilute their attention so much that they stop being effective at anything. Jack said yes to everything. Industry calls, customer support, random questions, requests from around the world, staff dependence, partner demands, and he said yes because he wanted to help. But each yes chipped away at his well-being. The yes he gave the world was costing the yes he needed to give his partner, his children, his staff, and of course, himself. When he finally learned to say no with clarity and calmness, something surprising happened. People respected him more because no communicates certainty. No communicates leadership. No communicates that your time has value. And no communicates that your energy is finite and it must be used wisely. Saying no doesn't make you less helpful. It makes you a better, clearer, and more present leader. How to set boundaries without guilt. Boundaries fail when they are delivered with an apology, hesitation, or with fear. So here are 4 principles on setting boundaries without guilt. Be early. Set expectations before a boundary is crossed. People respect limits they are told in advance. Be clear. Say exactly what the boundary is. Vague boundaries often get ignored. Be unapologetic. Don't say, sorry, but. That turns your boundary into a request. State it calmly and state it confidently. Provide alternatives. You can redirect without abandoning. For example, staff can contact another team member. Emails can be addressed twice a week. A set time for decision making, a clear content creation window that can't be interrupted. Jack needed all 4 of these principles. He redirected emails and WhatsApps to his remote staff member. He created set times when he was available. He explained to his partners that he was unavailable during content creation hours, and he turned his phone off at certain times so that he could disconnect fully during personal time. None of these boundaries damaged his relationships, they improved them. Boundaries and emotional well-being. Boundaries don't just protect your time, they protect your mental health. Without boundaries, leadership becomes survival. And with boundaries, leadership becomes sustainable. Boundaries protect sleep, they protect your concentration, creativity, emotional regulation, your personal relationships, and the ability to be present. And of course, the ability to enjoy your work again. Jack reached the point that he was so overwhelmed that he forgot to eat, he forgot to rest, and he also forgot to go to the toilet during the stressful days. He collapsed on the sofa each night as if he had been completely emptied out. His partner worried about him, his children saw a tired version of him, and he no longer felt connected to the music he once loved. This is what life looked like without boundaries, not because people demand too much, but because we present ourselves as an unlimited resource. Boundaries aren't selfish, boundaries are self-respect. Boundaries with your team, partners, and yourself. Boundaries are not just between you and the outside world, they exist in 3 directions. Boundaries with your team. Define what is yours and what is theirs. Train staff so they don't rely on you. Stop rescuing people from tasks that they should handle and empower people to make decisions. Jack's team relied on him because he had never created independence for them. Once he set boundaries and trained them properly, they became far more capable. Boundaries with your partners. Have honest conversations about workload. Make your role and their role very clear. Present a structured plan. Jack created a proposal that allowed him to be the creative face of the brand while his partners took on more of the operation work. This improved respect and created a much fairer balance. And of course, boundaries with yourself. These are the most important. They protect sleep, they protect meals, they protect rest, they protect evenings, they protect your hobbies, and they protect the time with the people that you love. Jack realized that the answer was to create boundaries that allowed him to do what he loved doing in his spare time. Boundaries in Direct with Clarity. Boundaries are a central part of the Direct with Clarity pillar in my Lead Well framework. So just to go over them again, as we do in almost every video that we go through. L is look inward. So before setting boundaries, you must know what drains you and what energizes you. E, establish rhythm. Boundaries are most effective when they have rhythm. Consistent times, consistent routines, consistent availability windows, consistent decision blocks. A, align your energy so you focus on what only you can do and delegate what others can do. And finally, D, direct with clarity. Boundaries are communication. They show others what you can carry and what you can't carry. Boundaries give you clarity. Clarity gives you calm. Calm gives you leadership. So let's bring everything together. Boundaries are instructions for respect. They reduce resentment, they protect your emotional well-being, and they help your team step up. They create fairness with partners, they allow you to lead without breaking yourself, and they restore your joy for the work. Saying no does not make you selfish, it makes you strong, because when you protect your energy, your leadership becomes sharper, calmer, and much more effective. I used to believe that leadership meant giving everything to everyone. I thought availability equaled value. But it drained me and it damaged the way that I led. Boundaries were the last thing I wanted to face, but they became the thing that changed my entire life. And I saw the same transformation in Jack. Once he built his boundaries, he became a different leader. He trained his staff properly and they stopped relying on him for every tiny task. He created a fair and respected relationship with his business partners. He redefined his role so that he could focus on what he does best without being available 24 hours a day. He took back control of his job, his time and his identity, and for the first time in a long time, he found joy in the work again. You can do the same. If you feel stretched thin, it's not because you're weak, it's because you've not yet set the boundaries that you deserve. Start with one, protect it, and everything else will begin to shift. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like and a subscribe. It helps me, it helps the channel, and it helps people like us find the content that really matters. And as always, I'd love to remind you that you matter too. Don't forget that.